Hi, welcome to Best Friends. You know, in just a couple of days, it's truly going to be summer. Are you ready? Are your pets ready? Make sure they're current on their immunizations and you have warm weather plans. It does happen here in Washington. Really. I also wanted to remind you that two of our local organizations, Concern for Animals and the Humane Society, are working together in a project to provide 25 cat spays over, let me see, the 4 Wednesdays of July, August, and September, the 9th, the 13th, the 10th. And please call Concern for Animals at 456-8176 for more information, because that's pretty darn important. So, are you ready to see some animals? We have a great bunny coming up. This is a lovely little red-eyed white bunny. She loves parsley. She is kind of hutch invested, so she is difficult to get in and out of her cage, but she does really like her treats. And she even is attuned to the volunteer's voice, who comes to give them parsley and carrots. Yes. Right now she's trying to figure out what in the world is going on. This is not an everyday occurrence for her, obviously, to have a large camera eye staring at her and be plopped down on a unfamiliar surface. But nice bunny. The females, just in a general way, are a little less outgoing than the male bunnies are. That doesn't mean they're any less friendly. This absolutely beautiful agouti orange that I would argue is probably at least part Abyssinian, if not all Abyssinian. It's a name that matches his coat. His name is October. I think you probably ought to call him Dr. Octor. But I'm kind of a Spider-Man fan, so. He is a little on the shy side. He is, and you can't tell this unless you're touching him, just as solid as a brick under that fur. This is a very sturdy boy. He is already neutered. He has incredibly beautiful orange eyes. Just in general, what a superb cat. He may not do really well around little kids, simply because he is a little shy and sort of shrinks from loud noises or abrupt movements. But what an amazing guy. Even in the short time that I've had him here, he's purring, and he is just, you know, seeking affection now. And when a cat can adjust that way, you know that it's going to be a great relationship. Another thing about him that I can tell you about Abyssinians in general is that they tend to be extremely playful, curious cats. And I think that's their hallmark. They hardly ever take no for an answer, and they are lifelong friends. I mean, there's a great deal of loyalty there. Although I am very partial to cats, so I would not tell you that it was a good thing for a cat to act like a dog. The Abbeys do to some degree. And they're acrobats. They have a very strong up and down orientation like the Siamese cats do. Don't know if he's Abyssinian all the way, but if you look at this coat, it's incredibly typical. Hardly can see any striping on him at all. It's very narrow and solid, and each fur, each hair on him is tipped and white. So he has that beautiful agouti coat that's typical of the Abbeys. Here again we have a neutered male, this time a beautiful gray silver tabby. He's quite a character too, and he has a very interesting tail. It's got some semi-kinks in it, and he carries it oddly, like up over his back, kind of like a Siberian husky cat or something. He's, again, a little bit shy at first, but a real love bug. He really loves to snuggle. He's a good guy. Oh, goody. He's very interested at this point in another cat that's wandering by, but he's not reacting very badly to it. So it may be a cat that would be comfortable in a setting with maybe one other cat. I find that it's hard to say. You know, people are always talking about predictive value of combining male-female or male-male or female-female. I think it really has more to do with the individual cats that are involved, and possibly how you introduce them, and how tolerant you are of the kinds of behaviors that might result in the way the cats react to each other. But of those, I think male-female is the best possibility of working out well, but a lot of that depends on how tolerant the female is of other cats in general. And I think next is male-male. I know more cats on a personal level that are very close to each other that are males. And then the female-female can get you some real fireworks. So sometimes it works very well and sometimes it doesn't. One thing I do usually recommend is that you not combine siblings. If they come from the same litter, then you occasionally will have unresolved dominance things going on. Although I know lots of people that make that work too. Oh, what a pretty boy. Yes. This is a beautiful little tuxedo. She is a young cat. I'm not precisely sure what her age is because she came to us as a stray, so we don't have any background. But we've had her spayed already, and she's a medium hair. She is a very, this is a cat that's going to mature into a very good family cat, but it's one that's kind of on the edge. I would place her in a family with older kids or very quiet kids. I don't think she will do well in a noisy, busy household. Might be better in an adult household. She's going to take some time to settle in, but I think once she does, you're going to have the lap cat that you want. This is also a cat I would really recommend making an indoor cat only, simply because she is so attuned to her surroundings that if she were outside and was frightened even once, I don't think you would be seeing much of her after that. So it's really best if she remains inside where she's safe. And I think this is a cat that values safety. So, which would make sense. If she came to us from a street setting, she probably is very happy to be in an environment where she feels protected. This is Rosalina. That's not really her name. It would be okay if you renamed her. It wouldn't matter a bit. Actually, I think you could call her Chicken Flavored Temptations and she'd be more than happy. Right? Very pretty green eyes, very neat little white chin. Just a lovely little brown tabby. Brown tabbies are, I don't know how they get the reputation, but I think a lot of them are very good with children. Generally, it's a brown tabby male that you see dressed up in baby clothes in the baby carriage. They just tend to be very tolerant cats. I don't know that there's any link whatsoever between the coat and pattern and the cat, but there you go. It's what people see, and so that's what we remember. She certainly does love Chicken Flavored Temptations. She's cleaned the plate. My goodness. Anyway, this might be a good cat to try with a family that does have young children. I think she's pretty darn stable. Not very affected by her surroundings at all. Enjoying attention. What a pretty girl. She has a really lovely pattern to her coat. It's just a standard tabby, but it's a goody. You can see on her coat better that each of the hairs is tipped in white. Or maybe beige. I don't know. Can we, split hairs here literally? People are often asking us about whether or not we have any cats that are already declawed, and this is indeed one of them. I don't know whether she came that way or whether it's because of the surgery, but she's awfully wary. I wouldn't recommend that she be around small children, just from the standpoint that a declawed cat, if it does feel threatened, and not to say that it necessarily will, tends to bite instead of scratch. And just as a rule, there are fewer germs on a cat's claws than in their mouth. And people react rather badly to some of the resident germs in a cat's mouth when they're injected into their flesh. What can I say? I have scars. I can tell you this. But she is, she's about 5 years old. She is already spayed, and she's really, as a declaw, she is a very stable girl. Very nice. And obviously, because she is declawed, she should not be an outside cat. People always immediately say, oh, I had a declaw and it went outside. Yeah, well, maybe it did. And maybe you had an environment for it that was super secure. But it's still inviting risk that just doesn't need to be there. I think she's lovely. And she has beautiful eyes. This is a really unusually marked cat. White with just gray splotching on his ear, and his tail is gray, and that's the only color on him. He is, I think he's wonderful. He's shy, but that doesn't mean he's not loving. He's just wary. May not do real well in a home that doesn't offer much in the way of security for him. Oh, and he has one gray toe. How cute. Maybe we'll call you Toe instead of Pit. Why would we call you Pit? It's something that's written on his paperwork, and I didn't quite understand it. Do you want to come back over here? If you come over here, you get goodies. No, we're going to disappear off camera range. Meow. Sorry. No go. Look at the tail. Do you think he's happy with me right now? I think not. But he's also purring, so that's a mixed message. He would just rather not be right here with the camera looking at him. And not even chicken flavored Temptations are going to sway him. Okay, I get it. This kitty is a neutered male. He came to us as a stray, and the top end of his ear isn't notched, but it's clipped, which is something that may happen in a feral spay-neuter project, you know, where sometimes it's very difficult to tell if a female cat is spayed. And if you can't get your hands on the cat, it's also pretty hard to tell if a male cat is neutered. Plus, if a male cat has been neutered for a very long time, it's very easy to mistake them for a female. So the projects often either cut a V in the ear or tip the ear, so you can tell from a distance that the cat has already been neutered or spayed. But this cat is no more feral than I am anyway. Very affectionate, very loving, very cuddly cat, and probably would be, I think this is a kitty that could transition into almost any role you want for him. Definitely, though, he would be a good family cat. I just have the sense about him that he's kind of prey-driven, so if you have a mouse issue, this might be a great guy. Can't make any promises, but it'd be worth checking. Among the other animals that we have right now are 2 birds and a corn snake. And if you want to come visit those, feel free. We're kind of running out of time today, and I want to make sure that you get to see the dogs. So stick with us. We'll be right back from the dog adoption area. Welcome to the dog portion of our show. This is Jazzy. We don't know what her real name is, but this is, that's who she is now. She is quite unusual. I mean, she is clearly a pit, but she has these beautiful blue eyes. Can you look at the camera? Look, oh, good girl. She is a very sturdy dog. She's going to have secure confinement, absolutely. I'm not sure I would have this dog around cats because, wow, is she ever interested? And also, she should not be around any other female dogs because we have an obvious bully breed ancestry here, and that gender aggression runs strong in these guys, so it's just best not to try it. This dog came from the coast in a program that we're working on in cooperation with some other rescue groups, and so we're grateful for the opportunity to offer her to you, and I think she's going to find a great home here. This little one is about 3 years old. She came to us as a stray. You know, sometimes I call dogs high energy. That doesn't come close. This dog is a whirling dervish. She could be a Tasmanian devil, but there's nothing devilish about her. But she looks that way. Those beautiful blue eyes, so we're thinking maybe Aussie in her background, which certainly wouldn't be surprising considering that she is a herding breed. And and healer. And wow, this coloring is just bizarre, but a great dog. You know, in spite of the fact that she is really, really energetic and probably needs to have a family that will jog with her or run with her. I don't know whether she's ball oriented or not, so I don't know how you can exercise that, but I suspect that she is very prey driven, so chances are she will chase something. If you don't have a secure fence, it will be your neighbors, so you do have to have a secure fence. She's going to need plenty of exercise. These guys sometimes tend to herd children. Not that that's a bad thing. Children need herding sometimes. But as a young dog, I would definitely recommend obedience with her. And she's not terrible with other dogs. She's not too awful on leash, other than, as I said, she is high energy. She will calm down. She really will. And she does love attention. Kind of picky about her treats, but that's okay. I am too. Right? I know. Yes, we're just taking way too long, and you really want to be down and moving. Okay, I'll let you do that. There. This is Shady. Shady is a female. She's about 3 years old, and she is probably a Mastiff mix. We're thinking possibly with Boxer. She's a very friendly dog. She was staying alone at home for long periods of time, and that wasn't working well for her. She really needs to be with her people. And so the thing is that it would really be best if you were at home with her, or if she were around people one way or another. Clearly she needs training. I don't think training would be difficult with this dog. She's very food oriented and she really wants approval. And so I think probably a soft form of training like clicker training would work beautifully with her. And of course that's readily available all over the community, so not a difficult thing at all. I know you're not going anywhere yet, okay? I know you're big enough to argue with me about it, but gosh, would you not? Okay, that's good. Good girl. Good girl. She does love human contact. Don't know whether she would get along with other dogs. We haven't seen any sign that it's a problem, but definitely you would want secure confinement. I suppose since she was being an indoor dog, that could work for you, but not for long periods of time. So hey, you know, don't you work somewhere where you can take your dog with you, or something? Or maybe you don't work. That would be even better. This is a puppy. This puppy is 6 months old. His name is Cooper. And beyond saying that he's a dog and he's a puppy, he's male, and that's about all I can tell you here. I don't know what this dog is genetically. I mean, he looks more like a tiny hyena than he does anything I recognize. He is really cute. And he has a lot of energy. And wow, would he ever be a fun dog? This is the kind of dog that you would get lots of questions about at the dog park. He is perpetual motion. I'm sure he does slow down. I just don't know when. Needs a lot of exercise. I hope he chases balls. You're going to have to teach him to do that, but oh my goodness. He is adorable. He drops the treats, you see, and so he's very eager to get down and see about them. Well, and so there's another thing. He would definitely keep your kitchen floor clean. As long as what you dropped was food. Maybe even not. I don't know. What a funny, funny little dog. He is going to be bigger. He's already bigger than most of the breeds that we had heard that he might be. But, wow. Secure confinement for this guy because he's not going to stop when you call him. If there's something that smells interesting, he's going to be on it. So that may be all the adoption dogs for today. Remember that who you see today may be adopted in the next hour and might be here when you get here, or maybe not. Might want to check our website to see if the dog is still present if you're coming to look, or cat, or whatever. Now let's talk a little bit about 4th of July and those wonderful fireworks that are currently banned in Olympia and in Lacey, but we don't know where you are, and we have a large listening area, so I feel like this is valid anyway. If you have a dog in your household and you haven't lived with them for very long, so you don't know for sure how they're going to react to the percussive noise of fireworks exploding in our patriotic celebration, might want to check that out first. Make a visit to your vet if you find that your dog is made frantic by that kind of noise. There are things you can do. You can keep the dog in a smaller, cool environment, like an inside bathroom. You can keep a fan running to provide white noise and air circulation, and you can also put a radio in there to play softly. Well, maybe not softly, maybe loudly. You know, depends on your dog. But something that will soften the sharp edges of those percussive booms. That can be terrifying to a dog. Not just a hearing dog, because their hearing is so much more acute than ours. But deaf dogs are also sometimes affected even more adversely. It's the exploding sound waves that come at them, and that is not necessarily translated in their brain to be a harmless firework. It is doom coming for them. I have seen dogs take out the entire sides of mobile homes and go through sharp plate glass windows during fireworks. And I guess if there is one thought I could leave you with to make absolutely sure that you keep identification on your dog. The 4th of July is a time when dogs go missing. They run in terror. They are often in places that you didn't anticipate them being loose, like at parks and playgrounds and campsites. If a dog comes to us with ID on, it makes it so much simpler for us to find you and get the dog home to you. During the 4th of July weekend, we generally declare an amnesty, so there is no reclaim fee as long as your dog is wearing a current license. That's pretty good, because the reclaim could pay for a couple of licenses. So license your pet, make sure it's wearing its license, and then do whatever you need to do to enjoy the 4th with your pup or cat or horse. Although we don't see too many horses down here. Okay? Have a great time.